Welcome to Black Man Speak. I'm your co-host, the J.R. Stewart.
And I'm your co-host, D. Tommy D. Duncan III. Jimmy, it is Wednesday, August 19th, 2023, Jimmy. And if it's Wednesday night,
It is certainly Black Man Speak. Let's give a big shout out to Liquid for providing our theme music, and a big thanks to For Us Films in our own studio for providing our virtual studio here. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button to help on our numbers and spread the word. And also invite a friend. So that way you guys will have something interesting to talk about for the rest of the week. With that being said, Tom, I know we have another packed show. So let's jump in and let's get started. Let's do
all
what we
right.
do.
Well, we are going to start off this evening. It's been a few weeks since we have had an opportunity to honor one of our memorialized folks that we want to honor throughout this country. And Jimmy, this past Sunday, I believe it was, we said goodbye to Clarence Avant. This is a gentleman that we've actually talked about before in the past. Jimmy, his wife, um, actually passed under unfortunate circumstances, I think a couple of years ago in 2021. But he was a business and entertainment mogul extraordinaire and is considered the black godfather of music and entertainment.
Okay. Yes, we have talked about him before, and I just haven't kept up, Tom. But I'm glad you have, and that we give a chance to pay honor. Uh, Yes, the face. I remember the face now, but yes, we have talked about him before in the past. And Tom, while this is a good time to, I guess, segue into a topic we covered last week. One of our watchers, listeners, sent me a comment that they want us to explain or go into a little more detailed background history on the Jamie Foxx um, segment that we did last week. And I guess the background information that they didn't have, the history, is that we've talked about this before, how
Yes.
black entertainers speak out. And what they're speaking out against is the negative influence that Hollywood and the small screen, big screen, silver screen, music, records, magazines, books, the negative influence they have on the black community. And that anytime you speak out against that, and that whole segment, Tom, is primarily dominated by a lot of Jewish people. Um, and I guess what the statement was that if the Jews would do this to Jesus, what would they do to you? Or they would kill Jesus. What would they do to you? And the point being is that you know, even if you don't consider Jesus the Messiah, he was still a rabbi with 12 disciples, which made him a pretty powerful person. Because generally, rabbis, if you get to the 12 number, that was pretty significant. And for them to sacrifice him up, they didn't care anything about a powerful rabbi. They're certainly not going to care about our culture and what they're doing to it. So, and it's just a shame that anytime you speak out against that, Tom, I mean, you get the cancer culture comes after you. You have to walk it back just to be able to work. So you're not even allowed to have that opinion. And if you do have it, you certainly can't voice it.
Well, the challenge is this. They took exception to a tweet that he put out there, assuming that he was talking about the Jewish community. And unfortunately, not the fact that he was addressing that to the Jewish community, which he said he hadn't or did not. They took exception to it, and then all of a sudden, the hounds were sent out against him, and then he was forced to make an apology for something that he, quite frankly, didn't do anything wrong.
I don't think it did anything wrong. So, and I will continue to speak out against that industry for what they do to the black culture, and part of it is our fault too, Tom, because we play along, we buy into it, in order to get record deals and to get on TV or to get a contract. We pretty much sell our culture out. So, and it's a shame that that's what we have to do in order to make a living when other people don't have to do that. So, with
Well,
that being said, I think oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was getting
well,
ready to move on.
I would say that I don't know if people do it deliberately, but they They go all in for the money, and there's nothing wrong with making money and feeding your family, but sometimes that comes at a cost. And then, there is a reckoning sometimes when you reach a certain level of success. And unfortunately, sometimes these people's handlers and folks who control their money use it against them. And so, we've seen and talked to about several different artists who have been basically been forced to say, as I forgot the name of the old pitcher of the New York Mets, yeah, you're my daddy. Otherwise, go back, bounce back on anything that they've said so that they can, in essence, apologize for something that they may not have done deliberately, or in this case, just did something that was pretty harmless and somebody made something pretty big of it, more than what it was.
Well, Tom, when I look at the that whole rap industry and how rap artists have to degrade themselves, degrade women in order to get a record contract.
Now that's what
Um,
we need. Now that is what we need to have an internal reckoning with, because that, I would agree, is a problem within our culture, within our community. Jimmy, when we were growing up and during the foundation and heyday of what we called hip hop, or rap, depending on what generation you were, it wasn't about the misogyny against women. It was
right.
really a fun competition, but it evolved into something. And I can pretty much guarantee that there were certain communities that may have influenced that, but it didn't work out in our favor, Jim.
Well, Tom, then you had certain groups like Public Enemy and KRS-One and Boogie Down Production. They tried to do some positive messages. They wouldn't survive the daytime. They wouldn't even, get
Correct.
any airplay if they were trying to push that content today. So, then it's sad. So, um, but the other thing, Tom, is I look at, you look across the landscape. I mean, I don't see country music degrading their women the
I
way,
don't see
or
any other genre of music
yes, it
degrading
doesn't
them.
happen.
None.
So, and I don't know why our artists feel that they have to do that. And hip hop is one of the number
It's called
one
it's called it's called
genre
money. And it is the number one genre, and it's all about money.
across the world, Tom. It has worldwide appeal, and this is the imagery and the message that you're pushing out, and the number one genre in the world. So, I mean, I wish our artists would come to their senses and stop this nonsense.
Well,
And
Jimmy,
surely,
when you're competing against that amount of money, millions of dollars, Jimmy, that's unfortunately what you get.
well, Tom, I'm going to just say one more thing, and then we can move on.
Yes.
Tom McDonald. I mean, he's a white rapper. He's doing quite well. He's refused to sign with any record company. He sells all his music himself. He ships it himself. Him and his family. It's a family business now, and he's one of the top recording artists for the last couple of years, who's outselling the record companies with his music. So
Good for him.
you don't always have to go to a record company to do a deal. You can do this for yourself, so you don't have to sell your soul to the devil. So with that being said, Tom,
And to that point, I want to say a couple of things
okay,
about Clarence Avant. I mean, he was a pioneer in his own right, Jimmy, and he was had an influence on a lot of different artists. Many of them we know, some of them we don't know. But he was born in North Carolina in the 30s, the eldest of 8 children. He started in the music business in the 1950s, got a mentor, and he founded his own label in 1969 called Sussex Records, where he signed his first major artist. He signed is someone, Jimmy, that both of us, for any of those out there who might remember Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone, Bill Withers.
right, Bill Withers, one of my
That was
favorite
his
songs.
that was his first major artist and put him on the map, who also sold, of course, great singles like Lean on Me and some others. But all
Hmm.
that being said, he also bought the first African American owned FM radio station in Los Angeles in 1973. Something else that folks might not know that he had a hand in is brokering the partnership between the great Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Janet Jackson. All those great hits at her prime, he had his hand all over that.
Well,
So
that Minneapolis machine of Jimmy Jam, I mean, they work magic for, I guess, Janet Jackson, for Prince, for some other artists. Um, don't know what happened to them, but they seemed like they were a great machine during their days. So
they're still doing it. I mean, they're usually the guys in the background, even though you saw them, in some of the concerts. They even, managed and produced some of Prince's albums in his earlier
Mhm.
days. So all that being said, Clarence Avant was a mentor, a manager, an advisor to many artists that we know about. And he was more of the behind the scenes guy. This is someone that will be sorely missed in the entertainment community. Has had an influence on just tens of thousands of people, and his impact on millions when you consider the talent that he has helped support throughout the years. So our condolences to his family. He is one of those that will not be replaced, and his legacy will carry on for decades to come.
I will say one thing, Tom. That was a pretty funky suit Jay Z had on now. So so you gotta give it to me on that one. You gotta be pretty brave to wear that suit in public.
Gotcha, gotcha. We'll go to our next news brief, Jimmy. You pulled up something that I had honestly had not been tracking.
That came
Um,
from one of our viewers who sent
Sage
it to
Sage
us.
Steele has, I guess, after a couple of years of being in court, working on a lawsuit, has formally left ESPN.
Yes, she has.
I don't recall whether we may have talked about this a while ago, but this has been going on for a couple of years now, Jimmy.
Yes, Tom, she had a disagreement with ESPN, and once again, they're trying to censor speech. And I'm glad she stood up for herself. She fought it because most would have just backed off to keep the paycheck going. But she stood up for her rights, Tom, and I guess they finally decided to settle with her, settle the lawsuit and settle with her. And she formally, I guess, resigned or left as part of the agreement. So, but still, I'm very proud of her for standing up for her right.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure she was at ESPN for 16 years, so I'm pretty sure she saved some of that money and wasn't hurting anyway. But she got more money after the lawsuit, so I presume that if she wants to take off for the next decade, she probably wouldn't be hurting.
Yeah, Tom, I'm pretty sure that. Well, I hope she's doing well, and if she's not doing well, Tom, I'm
I'm
pretty
sure
sure
she
she
is.
can go out and find another job. So,
Yeah, I'm
but
sure
I'm
she is.
pretty sure she's doing well for herself. Now, Tom, I sent you another story about a black woman. Is that going to make the cut this week, or do we need to save it for next week?
We'll save that one for next week.
Okay.
And make sure that we have the time to do the due diligence on that. But I'm definitely interested in sharing some of what she is doing in the business world and in the banking world. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. Hopefully next week's show. But in the meantime, another story. We haven't done anything international in quite a while. Most folks, if you've been watching the news, you've probably noticed that Niger, not Nigeria, but
Niger.
Niger, I think is what they call it,
Niger's hospital.
which is just north of Nigeria and also close to Burkina Faso and Mali and Algeria as well. They've had what the mainstream media calls a coup
A coup.
d'etat, but what some folks inside their
They
country
arrested the
say
president, Tom.
exactly the people are not too happy. Some of them with what the president's been doing, and his military decided to sack him and put him on house arrest. There are a lot of interesting things going on. For those of you who may not know the background on Niger, they were a former colony of the French, and they are a pretty significant exporter of uranium, which, by the way, is used by a lot of countries for their energy, in particular in nuclear reactors. So they do have strategic significance, not just to the French, Jimmy, but the other thing, Jimmy, is the United States has one of its largest drone bases in Niger as well, which with the ongoing conflicts with some of the insurgents there, Al Qaeda, etc. It's gotten to be pretty interesting, and this is one of the reasons why some of the Western countries are watching this out of the side of their eye and are trying to get the other Western African countries to speak on their behalf and try to get the president reinstated.
Well, Tom, good luck with that. I know there's been a lot of pressure from the international community to restore order there, but the military say they're going to put him on trial. Um, and really, that's not the role of the military to take down the civilian leadership. you should have laws in Congress that will check the powers of the president, and that's their job. So I hope they return to law and order and to the proper level of law and order in Niger. The people deserve it. And it's just sad time when these things happen. But once again, it's hard to grow beyond your military powers like that and third world status when you keep doing third world stuff. So hopefully other African nations will rally together and put some pressure on the military to restore order. But if not, I hope the international community comes. And unfortunately, whatever sanctions or put in place time will only hurt the common people. It's hard to put sanctions on a nation and to force them to do something without hurting the common people. So, and then that's where it gets really sad.
Well, this is the challenge, Jimmy. Even though Niger has mineral resources, including uranium, including diamonds, including gold, it is one of the poorest
Yes.
countries in the world. I think maybe the seventh or so
One time
poorest
they export their
in the world.
resources, and then raw resources. You export your raw resources for pennies on the dollars, and you're buying resources, refined resources for multiple dollars on the. So when you're doing that formula, you can't catch up. You never
And this
catch
is
up.
the challenge that they have with the president, who is now on house arrest, Mohammed Bazoum. I mean, because the challenge is this: some folks believe that he has not been serving the people's best interests, given that one, he doesn't feel that they're putting the country in a position to take advantage of those resources, and quite frankly, they feel that he's taking resources away from the people for his own personal interests. And so it will be interesting to see how this plays itself out. At the end of the day, many of the 54 African countries are mineral wealthy, and people are still poor, with the exception of a very small ruling class of folks in many of these countries. Unlike when you look at the Middle Eastern countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and some of the other areas that are very wealthy in mineral resources, and the people benefit from them.
Well, Tom, when your number one export is uranium, unless you have a nuclear power plant or refinement plants that are spinning uranium, then all you can do is export the raw material to those who can process it. So, once again, just Niger suffers like a lot of African countries, is that they don't have manufacturing resources to add the processing layer to their raw goods in order to, that's where the money is. Not in the raw goods themselves, it's in the refinement of those raw goods, the processing of those raw goods. So more economic and infrastructure investment is going to be needed. And as long as you're buying guns to build a military, it's hard to have the civilian investment that you need to grow your country.
Good deal, Jimmy. Why don't we do this in the interest of time? We're right at 8:20. We have a couple of
Okay.
folks who are on the chat line. We'll go ahead and introduce our special guest in a moment, but we do want to acknowledge a few of our guests who are on the chat line and thank them for joining us. Ms. Marion Square, who is a ardent supporter of Black Men Speak. We want to thank her for joining us. Says Clarence Avant's daughter married the CEO of Netflix, which is true. Boozy Scott. All money is not good money. I think that's in reference to our conversation on the artists who were taking the money, but what are they doing to the community? So I definitely understand that. Brother Frederick V. Roberts, Mr. Collegiate F.V. Roberts. Good evening, brothers. Good evening, Brother Roberts. Good to see you. He also was a manager for Louis Armstrong. That was Clarence Avant. And then Miss Audrey K. Booker, good to have you as well. And so we want to thank everyone for joining us. But now we're going to transition to our guest of honor for the day, Brother Deshun Baker. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome, Mr. Baker.
I'm doing fine. How you brothers doing?
Doing good. We want to
Doing well.
We want to thank you for joining us this evening, and definitely looking forward to learning a little bit more about your story, your successes, and the wild, wild west of entrepreneurship. You have a very interesting business. And by the way, Jimmy, I actually met Brother Baker earlier this year during one of our fraternity conventions when we were having a workshop on entrepreneurship. We were covering the legal aspect of it. We talked about franchising, those types of things, and Brother Baker asked some very interesting questions. So, given that we are going to more regularly have entrepreneurs and business leaders on our show, I thought about him, and we were finally able to get his calendar to work out for us. So, we want to thank you for joining us and have you to briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll go from there.
First, on the cast, my name is Deshun Baker. I'm an entrepreneur. Background is in architectural design, Prairie View graduate. In the architectural field, but throughout my career, and athletic career, and just in leadership as an alpha man, I ran into entrepreneurship and felt that was to find some success, and that's when I started a business in the window treatment industry.
Okay.
Good deal. Now, so does that mean that you started out in corporate America and then you went into entrepreneurship, or did you go into entrepreneurship straight out of college? How did that work?
So from getting a degree in architecture, wanting to go into a firm, wanting to become an architect, and to me also being an athlete at Prairie View, I was offered a coaching job right out of college. So I was a teacher for 12 years, and I taught architecture, I taught drafting, and I was able to live out my coaching dream, helping the young men develop skills on the football field and things of that nature. But from there, I couldn't stand hearing a bell. I didn't like the bell system. So you're telling me at 12:30 I have to do this, and then the bell rings again. I have to hurry up and begin hearing a bell. So I had to break out of that. And the way I broke out of that is jumping into architecture. So I started working for a firm, doing consulting and things of that nature. And just being in corporate for about 8 years, I'm just listening to the mistakes and things that I probably can do on my own if I find a niche. And found a niche, got into the window treatment industry, just riding memory. She decided to look into draperies, and I was saying, hey, we should get a couch. She said, let's get drapes and stuff.
So do you just treat windows? You replace windows, single pane, double pane, triple pane? I mean, what is your product line or service?
So window treatments, some people take it as dealing with the actual window, but we actually do the covering. If you can see in the back of my screen, that is, so we actually do the coverings on the interior. So we do roller shades, we do shutters, blinds, interior coverings, screening, tint, things of that nature that you apply on the glass to control light or get your privacy.
Okay, interesting.
So when you got into, or when you started business, did you have anybody in your family who had been in business before, an entrepreneur? Did you have to develop mentors? Or how did that work for you? And I guess the question really comes to it, when you look at your formal education, your experience, working professionally, was this something that you literally had to start from scratch doing, or how did that work?
It basically started from scratch, but I do have to give my mother, because growing up, I'm sure you guys remember those big camcorders.
Oh, yeah.
That you used to have on your shoulder.
Yes.
So, and every time she videoed, it turned into a business. People would ask for copies and this, that, and the other. And as a young man, if she was selling jewelry, from just doing a pop-up shop, garage, she would go all out to make ends meet. And I created a little hustle and on before I made it to Prairie View and started my education in architecture. So it was something that was always in me. I just needed a niche. I didn't want to be in the way of too many competitors.
Well, I'm glad it's not hair care and barbecue. Hey, Tom, do we have Brother Baker's contact information for his business
Yes,
that
we
we can
do.
put up for everyone?
Yes, we do. Give me
Make
just
sure you put this brother in your contact list. You never know if you buy a new house or you have an existing apartment or home that you want to treat your windows, and because really, I mean, a really nice window treatment can really make a room pop. So a lot of times we don't think about the windows; we think about furniture and paint, and but yeah, the right curtains and the right. And for me, I mean, I like natural lights, but I certainly don't want light where it heats the house up. So if you can get a nice tin and still give me a natural light, then I'm in heaven. So, but okay, there's the information, everyone. Please, put this in your contact. Put this information there. So when you need Brother Baker, you know how to reach him.
so. What were the things in going into business? So obviously, you have some of it in your DNA because your mother, when you were growing up. But when you had to do it on your own, what were the surprises about going into business for yourself that you had to learn? What were the things that you think came natural for you, and what were some of the challenges, things that you never would have thought about as an entrepreneur? Maybe not in your specific field, because everybody has to have a domain of expertise and they have to learn their craft for whatever customer they're selling to, whatever product they're selling. But just being an entrepreneur and a business person, because everybody who says they want to go into business, there's a there's a psychology, correct?
Yes, yes. So one of my strengths, for sure, one of my strengths was customer service. I knew that if I could come up with um, some type of way to deliver a great customer service, that I would be successful. So I started with communication, and I knew that I needed to have at least 4 to 5 ways to communicate with a customer. My office hours or after hours to make sure that that customer can reach me. We email, we text, we call, voicemails, and things of that nature, to make sure that we can continue to let that customer know that we're in that corner for their requests, and that we wanted to give them updates. So that was one of my focal points in trying to find success as an entrepreneur, was the communication. The hardest part about building the business was finding employees that can have the skills and the passion, a little bit of the passion, to execute the things that you need done on a daily basis. So I've been through a few uh, installers, a few sales reps, and things of that nature. But right now, I have a good little outline on how to work it, and have people remote. And we're doing a great job, just like I said, on a daily basis, to get to service calls and to continue to build a successful business.
That's
I
good.
talked to a lot of. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jimmy.
No, go ahead.
I talked to a lot of folks, contractors. Just for plumbing, electrical, and they said, really the biggest issue is finding folks who are willing to work. Period, and or if they're willing to work, as soon as they get the first paycheck in their pocket, finding them after that. I mean, is it really that?
It could be rough sometimes.
Yeah. So what I basically did is I start most of my guys 1099. We spoke about this earlier, just as a safe place for me. That way I don't have to fire you, but I just don't have to call you that day if I don't need, your energy, your vibe, your input at that particular job. The other thing I did is I found the people that wanted to work, and I gave them a small offer for some type of base pay to keep them engaged. We have a designer on our team. He does all of our paraphernalia. He does all of our artwork and business cards. So I got him wrapped in that way with, just a base pay until I was able to hire these people on full time.
Okay. The people, we just posted our dial-in phone chat line number. If you want to talk to Mr. Baker, now's the time. Do not wait till 5 minutes to show in to call in with your questions. So call in now, get your questions out while you have this brother at your disposal. So,
What is the most difficult side? And we kind of addressed a little bit. What do you think is the most difficult side or the people side of the business? I know that among the majority of our businesses, I think 90 to 95% of them, there's really only one employee. What is the most difficult part of dealing with the people side of your business, or in general, whether it's your business or other folks that you partner with?
Sometimes the difficult part is, again, them not having the knowledge of the product, or them having, some type of small issue that's everything is fixable. But the difficult part is just to make sure that you can maintain that level of communication um, without taking, some of the headaches that you get with, dealing with different people daily, personal. So having a team that can help you out with that, which I do have a good admin team with the communication side, it kind of helps me focus on infield and admin work at the same time. So if I had to do both of them, it would be very tough.
Good
okay.
deal. It looks like we do have a question from Miss Bosie Scott. She says, "Do you only work in DFW?" And actually, Deshun is in the Houston metro area, so really the majority of his business and his clientele is in the DFW area. I know that Bonnie does have, she does some real estate, and I know she has some property in the Louisiana area. How far out do you go? I know one of the things that we talked about during the workshop, it was franchising, things of that nature. So where are you at now in terms of where you will serve your clients, and what are you looking at in terms of the future?
So obviously the greater Houston area, I've stretched out to some of the surrounding areas here, like the Pearlands, the Richmonds, Sugarlands, all the way going towards Louisiana with the Baytown, the Beaumont. But it's pretty simple to consult with somebody in a different area, because all of my products can be shipped directly to you. The hardest part is getting down there and actually getting precise dimensions. So if we had someone that could get to capture the right dimensions, if we did a good consultation virtually, it would be pretty simple for me to get products sent to you and get a few guys down for an installation. So I've been looking forward to trying to do something in the Dallas area, Austin area, stretching out a little bit further. But it just have to get that, that opportunity to see how it's going to work. And the customer, the end user, has a full understanding of what they're receiving.
How much? So you mentioned something a little bit earlier about different areas of home improvement. How densely competitive is this specific area? I know that, and I would presume that just like a kitchen or a bathroom upgrades, window upgrades, I presume, does add some value to a home, especially when you're selling it. I don't know what that looks like. You probably know better than I do. But tell us a little bit about the value when you look at the window upgrades and things of that nature first.
Well, first and foremost, if you're reselling a home, you want a nice, product in there that's functional. Blinds can, over time, discolorate. They can have, some bad blemishes on them that can affect a person's eye when they're walking in a space. But I think window treatments do, uh, bring a big impact to that space, because you're controlling your light, you're controlling the heat control in some cases, and things that people making it a little bit more cost effect, efficient for you with your energy and in the interior. But at the same time, upgrading your treatments is very important, because if you see behind me, we have cords on these blinds. In the next 5 years, there won't be any more cords on any window treatments. Everything will be cordless or motorized.
Yeah.
So it will be time for an upgrade. I think this industry is constantly giving us opportunity for growth. And I would have to say, since I'm on uh, Black Men's Speak
Yes, sir.
cast, Black Lives Matter and the Black, uh, that whole movement that we had a few years ago, it actually helped my business as being one of the only Blacks that deals with my manufacturer,
Wow.
which it helped me because I'm actually ranked in the top 100 for Lafayette Interior Fashions. And in Texas, I'm in the top two. So it's only one guy in East Texas in sales that are competing with our numbers, and that was brought to me, just out the blue. I didn't realize it. I was just constantly pressing on, but I do know that when I walk in people's homes and they look like me, they gravitate to me. One, and I'm setting the bar a little bit higher for my other, for our other young black entrepreneurs, because I'm giving them a what I call a Chick-fil-A customer service. So I'm giving them an upgraded customer service level to where sometimes it doesn't even matter if my competition is lower than my cost. They feel some type of way because of the way we carry ourselves and the way we present our business.
Well, yeah, that's called customer loyalty. And when you have that, it's a great thing. And sometimes not everyone is shopping for dollars. Sometimes people shop for value. And if they're looking for value, they don't really care about the cost, as long as it's not too far out of their range. But with everything being relative, value is king. So continue to do that. And I assume that, I mean, you look very professional tonight. I assume that's a sport. That's the image that you sport. You're not walking around with your pants sagging. So so young brothers, pay attention, because this brother's giving you the formula for how to get ahead in life.
Oh
Be
yeah,
well spoken, be well dressed, and carry yourself in a professional manner. And there's a lot of things you can do in life and a lot of success you can gain in life just on those things.
yes sir.
You mentioned customer service, and you mentioned earlier in the show about the communications, the channel of communications that you use with your clients. So when you talk about giving that Chick-fil-A customer service or that high-end level of customer service outside of the channels of communication, what does that look like? And we're also speaking to other folks out there who may be in business, thinking about going into business or wanting to take it to the next level.
So what that looks like, if you can recall, Chick-fil-A, you place your order. When you put your card out there, they're saying, thank you, my pleasure, as quick as possible. They get your money quicker than it. You barely tap the machine and they have your money, basically. So looking at that model, I was like, okay, when a customer says, I'm interested in blinds, how fast can I get back to them? So what we do automatically is I might get a contact. Hey, this is such and such. I'm interested in blinds. Where are you located? Okay, boom. If you can send me 3 items, I'm going to get back to you in 2 ways, like very quickly. So they send their full name, address, and email. As soon as they send that, while I'm in conversation, I screenshot it and I send it to my admin. My admin also sends it to estimating, because estimating needs the email. So my admin sends an email to them while they're on the phone with me closing the call, and then I'll send a text, thank you for considering deluxe. So those 3 or 4 things happen really, really quick, which I get the attention of the customer. Once I get the attention of the customer, then we will do either rough measurements, I'll send a guy out, we can schedule, because the people that do all that for me has the 3 items that they need. We can actually give an ETA how long it takes to get to their home, because we have their address, their email. We can get a quick quote to them. If they just say, hey, I got 6 windows this size, I want a quote, we can get that to them too. So moving quickly has really, really helped me. Just keep the attention of the customer.
Well, customer service is very important. In fact, in our community, that is one of the number one complaints against Black-owned businesses is the customer service is lacking, or we don't put enough thought into it. Not that we're giving bad service, we just don't give great service. And it's either in today's market, it's either great service or nothing. So there is no middle ground in between. So and some of our companies just don't understand the importance of great customer service. So kudos to you for doing that and being innovative in your industry to make that happen.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother.
And I'd also like to acknowledge, while we have a brief break, Ms. Bonnie Scott, who I mentioned a little bit earlier, jumped online a little bit after we got started. And then Brother Kevin Johnson out of the Washington, D.C. metro area joined us. So it's definitely good to have you here as well, KJ. So in summary, different channels of communication, speed and ease of doing business. So you talked about literally you put that credit card up there and it's already taking your money. Ease of doing business, speed, and communication.
Well, yeah, next time you go to Chick-fil-A, see how fast things work. Can I get a name for the order? Boom, boom. When you get a name, before you know it, your money's already in their system and your product is coming. So
True.
lastly, with that, I've done research on different manufacturers because my product has to come quickly. So I'm really big on everything being made here in the U.S. So I found manufacturers here locally for one reason, because especially somebody that looks like me as a consumer, if something goes wrong, if a measurement is wrong, or if it's a warranty issue, they really don't want to wait. And so we do have really good ties with 4 or 5 major manufacturers. I've had manufacturers call me to actually just give me an opportunity at a major store like a Costco or something like that, permanent, but just to sell their products. And I've turned down offers like that because I wanted to make sure that I had multiple options, lead times. If they get slow here, I can go there, and just building relationships. And again, if you check out my Instagram, that's where you'll really find a true story about Deluxe Window Treatments. The Instagram is Deluxe Window Treatments. It'll have this logo here on it. But you would really be able to find out the story behind how we, built a successful window treatment company.
So now with the oh, I don't have Instagram, so if you're talking to Brother Baker,
Yeah.
with the motorized window treatment, will those be tied into Alexa and Google Home Automation? Um, so you talked about 5 years. So tell us what that's going to look like for us integration wise into smart homes.
So right now I offer 2 motors. They did come out with a motor that's called a Simple Motion, but to your point, we do have a motor made by Somfy. I am a Somfy expert. Basically did a little extra studies on it. It does give you the ability to integrate into your smart home. Right now, if you have Control 4, Alexa, Google, these different entities, you can actually integrate into that. You can talk to your shades, obviously, through that, and have all of your shades connected to your phone, any iPads, any devices, put them on schedules. And at 2 o'clock, you'll look at your breakfast area and they will move 75%
Wow.
of the way, just based off of the time of year. So they are making it very, very interesting in regards to motorization.
Okay. Yeah, about half my home is controlled by Alexa now. Just keep finding more interfaces and devices, outlets and lights and fans and every. I mean, it's just so convenient to be able to give voice commands and turn stuff off and on, or program when they're going to come on. So that's good to hear that you have an integration plan into smart homes and smart devices.
Yeah, someone in the chat asked about the value of the product. I'm not sure if.
Yeah, that was Celia Reese.
Okay. I'm not sure if you're talking about as far as the quality, or if you're talking about price value, but I can say the manufacturer, my main manufacturer is Lafayette Interiors. I'm sure some of you have heard of Hunter Douglas. they're like the Bentley of the industry as far as with the name, because they just buy all of the smaller companies and keep them up under their umbrella. But Lafayette Interior actually used to build for Hunter Douglas, and the product is great. It's great quality. It's lifetime warranties on my products, 5-year warranties on my motorization.
She mentioned that had to do with the quality of the product.
When you say quality,
Well, you just said it was excellent quality, top of the line Rolls Royce Bentley type.
so let's just say this. I took my architectural background into me searching for manufacturers. I had a customer that found a shade for 120 bucks online. She said, "If I buy it here, can you come and install it?" I said, "Yeah, I'll come install it, ma'am." My shade was probably about 210. And when I got there, I can see glue smudges coming out of the cassette. I can see exposed screws and this, that, and other. And I let her know that um, hey, I mean, you get what you pay for. Everything with Deluxe as it relates to roller shades and things of that nature, shutters will be, the quality will be, um, if not the best you can get, it will be top of the line, handmade, handcrafted, and we will sit down and take you through that whole journey before we sell you anything.
When you speak to your ability to be able to grow and scale as a business, so you're an entrepreneur, you have a specific market, you have a specific niche, and you come across other folks. You mentioned a little bit earlier that you're one of the few African American owned businesses in this specific space. Do you have a network of other entrepreneurs, other brothers, for instance, that you may have different markets and or different services that you provide that y'all connect or network with for business, things of that nature?
Yeah, I have a network of a few guys. I have guys that do the commercials and the video. I have guys that do the roofing. I have guys that do just general contract work on, upgrading. I have a lot of interior designers that actually love me because they don't have to worry about that one line within their design. All they have to do is focus on the interior, and I can actually do a turnkey on the window treatments and do all the programming and do everything to make the space look to the customer's liking. But what I can say is I ran into another couple in the area that looks like us, and they sold shutters. It was a lady and her sister. And I tried to give them a card, and she said, "Oh, you're our competitor." And I said, "No, I'm not your competitor." I said, "If you just take that card and give me a call, I'll explain why." And believe it or not, I've invited them to 3 of our business banquets. I partnered with them on the side just to kind of help mentor and let them know they don't know anything about roller shades. They just do shutters. But I was able to keep their mojo going here in the area. And that's us as Black people. The first thing we're going to say is you're my competitor. But I'm open to join. Like if I find somebody that does exterior shades, man, we need to sit down. So that's just a way for us both to grow. And I can teach you a little bit about what I do and so on.
Well, joint ventures are a great way for businesses to grow. And whether you're feeding someone downstream from you or upstream, like you said, you may work with some interior designers, some architects, some home builders. Of course, as they're building their products, they may need your services. And then there are things that you can recommend to someone. So working together is always a good thing. And even if you do similar type work or sell similar type products, there's still things you can work together on.
Yes, yes.
And it looks like we just got Miss Elisa Patterson, Counselor Elisa Patterson, on the chat
The
line.
Elisa Patterson.
So we want to thank her for joining us this evening as well. And by the way, Brother Baker, she is in Austin. I know that you're not doing anything yet, but she is definitely looking at trying to get a home sometime pretty soon. So you never know, you may have expanded.
Brother Baker said he's willing to go to Austin. Just get the right measurements. Don't have them going back and forth now, but if you get the measurements right, he said he's willing to travel.
We have
Send his
about
daughter
we have
there.
about
So
10 minutes left, but one thing that I'd like to kind of turn the corner on, Jimmy, you brought up something very interesting, Deshun, and you ran into the lady that said, "Well, hey, you're kind of our competition." And Jimmy, I remember a conversation we had a while ago where there were a couple of Chinese restaurants that were, I think, somewhere on the same street or right across the street
in
from each
Richardson,
other. And you asked them, well, hey,
it was
why
two
do
it
y'all
was two brothers who ran one of them, and one of the brothers left and opened up one across the street.
Mm.
Same menu, same everything. And yes, and when asked, why would you do that? And basically they said, both restaurants work for the family. So it doesn't matter if you spend your money with me or my brother. It's all coming to the family. So, and yeah, Tom, we talked about this, and it just seemed like that would never happen with two black businesses doing the same thing right across the street from each other, especially if it was someone within your family, without you guys thinking that they were stabbing you in the back.
Yeah.
And I think the part that I'm bringing up here is that, as we continue to build and grow our economy, Jimmy, because I want to say we're right about maybe 1%, if that, of the total gross domestic product in terms of production in this country. You know, the thing that I appreciate about what you're doing, Sean, is that you are partnering with and engaging other black owned businesses as well so that you can both grow. Because even if you're in the same business, sometimes I run into folks and they may have a specific size of a customer or project that they're dealing with. But what happens if you want to bid on something with the city or the county or a large scale commercial project, and you're able to partner together in order to get a larger piece of a much bigger pie as opposed to doing it just individually, where neither of you might not be able to compete. The both of you can go in and win the business.
Well,
Yeah.
that was part of Charles O'Neill's, the U.S. Black Chamber chairman of the U.S. Black Chamber. But we had him on a couple of weeks ago, and that was his point that we need to be partnering together, coming together, and pooling our resources, even if we have the same business.
Yep. It's been great for me. Like I said, after meeting them and having an opportunity to just kind of share what we do and how we do it in a few lunches. We've both moved forward and learned things about our business, and my blessings come from giving. So I don't keep my blueprint. I don't keep my platform that I'm on a secret to any young black man or to anybody that's interested in trying an entrepreneurship venture.
Let me ask you this. As we broaden the conversation and we talk about figuring out how to grow our economy, our gross domestic product within the gross domestic product within the United States, um, what are your thoughts on how the black community can begin to grow its piece of the economic pie in the U.S.? So, one, we get to the point where we're employing more of our own people. We have more control over our economic destiny. We're not in a position where we have to go to other communities and other cultures in order to control our destiny and employ our own.
Um, right now, again, my motto was based off of that. A lot of people, kept telling me, "Oh, if that guy don't get up, if he's late, if he's that, you need to go get you a Hispanic guy and he'll be on time." But my motto was always set to these young men that I bring into the homes. If you actually look on my site, you'll see everyone that looks like us, and most of them are high school or early college students, early graduates, second chance guys. I love giving those guys a chance. Hey, I can't get an opportunity out there. I have a background, is that and other, and hey, they come with me, and I make sure that they look the part. But again, in order to keep it in our community, you have to support each other and you have to give an opportunity out there. So the first thing someone's going to look at is if you do have a past is uh, he's probably going to be just like the other whatever you ran into as far as Black-owned business. But with great customer service, I'm saying a continuous, focus on service, you should be okay.
Well, you know what? Like I said, I commend you for having the audacity to be diverse and do something that's kind of outside the norm for Black entrepreneurs. So, and we need that. We need to be able to do more than hair care and barbecue, and feel that we can. Yeah, I mean, there are lots of things that we can do. I'm always amazed when I watch television at the number of things and products that people come up with and services to sell. Like I never thought about that. And we seem to be stuck in our lane. We need to get out of that lane. You know, our young people need to know that there is so much that whatever they can dream of, there's a good chance that that service or product is needed. And so don't be afraid to go pursue that.
And there's also a chat here from Celia. She says the article in Voyage Houston magazine. Tell us about that. Why did they seek your business out to profile? How did that happen?
It's about who you know. So again, a few people know me, and I know them, and I guess a phone call was made. Again, great service, great communication, and I got a phone call. So I was blessed to have an opportunity to tell my story, how this all began, how this logo came about, how the business colors came about. It's a beautiful article. I can send it to you guys, and you can post it or get it out
Okay.
to the cast.
No, absolutely amazing, and definitely appreciate that. I know we have maybe a couple of minutes left, so what we'll
Yes.
do is give you a couple of minutes as we close to make any closing comments before we close out this show. Brother Freddie Roberts, great program as usual. Thanks, Brother Baker, for the insight on the window treatment industry and support for your business. So, any closing comments that you would like to make, and how can we support your business moving forward? And then we'll close the show out.
Well, one more question, quick question also,
Okay.
Okay,
before you go into your closing comments. Is it just residential, or do you do commercial, churches? I'm trying to think of some other
good question.
things that need a window treatment.
Uh, if it has a window, I'll be there.
Okay.
So again, we just got heavily in commercial, so we're doing commercial also, but again, I'm strongly interior right now. I partner with a few people for exterior treatments, but yeah, we do commercial, churches, you name it.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead with the question you were asking for the last comment.
No, just closing comments, and then how can we support your business moving forward?
Again, I appreciate the opportunity to tell my story. Um, Again, this started this business with $500, and it's just amazing the opportunity that I have been able
I'm
to.
sorry. I'm sorry. Say it again. How much?
$500.
You didn't have to go get a $250,000 SBA loan to get started.
I never got a loan in my life, sir.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Self-funding.
You are
Save your
already.
money.
I can tell you right now, you are already on Jimmy's greatest.
Yes, man. You're saying all the right things. This is what I've been preaching for years, and how we need to do this to turn things around. So you're my brother. You're my hero,
Oh yeah,
Brother Baker.
yeah. And I appreciate again you guys. The way you guys can support me again is just remember me when you're looking at your treatments or when you see someone getting a new home, and don't be afraid to give me a call so that I can make something happen for that particular person or that customer.
And we know
I'm not afraid again to travel.
we know a few people in the Houston area, Jimmy, and then when you get up to that Dallas, we'll have to look you up when you get up to Dallas as well.
Well, next time we do a home show
Let's set it up and
with our real estate brokers and agents, let's invite Brother Baker to come join the conversation
Okay.
also.
Well, that's a great
Uh,
idea.
yeah, because most of those guys are down in Houston and they're selling homes, and his brother doing window treatment, interior window treatment. So there may be some opportunity for them to network together.
that'll be perfect.
That sounds good. All right. Matter of fact, Dwight Johnson. Do you know Dwight?
I got name doesn't pop.
Okay, good deal. We definitely gonna have to make sure that we get you introduced to him. He is a real estate agent, does a lot of business in the Houston area, so we'll definitely have to get you guys connected.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that will work out beautifully.
Oh, that'll be
All
great.
right, folks, that is it for this evening. Time certainly flies when you're having fun. We want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. I want to thank Ms. Chastity Christian for joining us this evening on the chat line, and our good friend, Brother Asa, African Genius Podcast, for joining us this evening as well. Look forward to seeing everyone next week. And, Karen Powell. Karen Powell was on the line.
Oh, okay.
There we go. So we thank everyone for joining us this evening, and we will see you all next week.
See y'all next week.